July 1518. The hottest summer anyone in Strasbourg can remember. A woman steps out of her house and into the street. Her name is Frau Trophäe, and she starts to dance. No music, no festival, no expression on her face. Her arms swing, her feet pound the stones, hour after hour. The sun goes down, she's still dancing. Her husband begs her to stop. She doesn't answer. Her eyes are open, but they're somewhere else. By the third day, her shoes are soaked red. Her feet are raw. She dances anyway. She collapses at night, sleeps for an hour or two, wakes up, and her legs start moving again, like they belong to someone else. 6 days. She danced for 6 days. And here's where the story stops being strange and starts being terrifying. Because the dancing spread. Within a week, 34 people were dancing in the streets of Strasbourg. They didn't know each other. They weren't celebrating anything. Some of them were screaming while they danced. Screaming for help. Begging someone to make it stop. Their bodies simply would not obey. By the end of the month, there were 400 of them. 400 people dancing day and night in the summer heat. So the city council did what governments do. They called in the experts. The physicians of Strasbourg examined the dancers and delivered their diagnosis. Hot blood. Too much heat in the veins, boiling the brain. And their prescription, this is real, it's in the city records, was more dancing. Let them dance it out of their systems. So the council cleared the grain market. They opened the guild halls. They built a wooden stage. And they hired musicians, pipers and drummers, and paid strong men to hold the dancers upright when their legs gave out. They turned a plague into a concert. It was the worst decision they could have made. Because now the dancing had a soundtrack. Now it had a venue. Now everyone in Strasbourg came to watch. And watching, it turns out, was how you caught it. The plague exploded. One chronicle claims that at its peak, the dancing was killing up to 15 people a day. Strokes, heart attacks. Bodies pushed past every limit until something inside them gave way. People were dancing themselves to death in front of their families, and no one could do anything but watch. So the question is, why? What actually does this to 400 human beings? For a long time, the favorite suspect was poison. Ergot, a fungus that grows on damp rye. Eat bread milled from infected grain, and you get powerful hallucinations. Convulsions. It's the same suspect some point to for the Salem witch trials. Case closed. Not quite. Because ergot also strangles your blood flow. It gives you seizures, not choreography. A body full of ergot can barely stand. It cannot dance for 6 days straight. Others whispered about a secret cult. Heretics dancing for the devil. But the records say the opposite. These people wept while they danced. They begged strangers to hold them down. Whatever was moving their bodies, they wanted no part of it. To find the real answer, you have to look at what Strasbourg had lived through. Because 1518 didn't come out of nowhere. The harvests had failed, again and again. Bread prices had gone insane. Smallpox was in the city. Syphilis, leprosy. Orphans begged in doorways. Families sold everything they owned and still starved. The people of Strasbourg were living at the absolute edge of what a human mind can carry. And into that despair dropped one small sharp idea. Saint Vitus. Every soul in Strasbourg knew the legend. Anger Saint Vitus, and he would curse you with the dancing sickness. A curse that seizes your legs and dances you into the ground. Think about what that means. Everyone believed the curse was real. Everyone knew exactly what it looked like. So when one exhausted, broken woman stepped into the street and began to move, 400 minds were already loaded. They saw the curse, and the curse became true. Doctors today have a name for it: mass psychogenic illness. The mind under unbearable stress, hijacking the body, not pretending, not faking. Real trance, real convulsions, real deaths. An epidemic with no germ at all, spreading from person to person through nothing but sight and belief. And here's the proof it was belief all along. Look at what finally stopped it. The council banned public music. They banned dancing, outlawed the very thing they'd built a stage for weeks earlier. Then they loaded the dancers onto wagons and carried them to a mountain shrine, the shrine of Saint Vitus. The dancers were given small red shoes sprinkled with holy water, marked with crosses in consecrated oil. Priests performed the rituals. The saint was appeased, and the dancing stopped, not with medicine, with a ceremony. The cure for the curse was the same thing that caused it: belief. By September, the streets of Strasbourg were quiet. The stage was torn down. The dead were buried. And here's the detail that should keep you up tonight. Strasbourg wasn't the first. At least 10 dancing plagues swept through Europe before 1518. In 1374, thousands of people danced through towns along the Rhine. An outbreak that spread across whole regions, village to village, like a fire made of motion. For centuries, the dancing curse was a real, recurring disease. And then, it went extinct. Why? Because people stopped believing in Saint Vitus's curse. The idea died. And when the idea died, the disease died with it. A plague that lived nowhere but the human mind. And the human mind moved on. But before you file this away as medieval superstition, ask yourself what ideas are loaded into your mind right now. Beliefs so deep you'd never think to question them. Fears you caught from watching someone else. The people of Strasbourg didn't choose to dance. They simply believed in something, together, and their bodies obeyed. 400 people is all it took in 1518. In one city, with no printing press worth mentioning, no radio, no feed refreshing in every pocket. The dancing plague never came back, but a thing that caused it never left. It's in the room with you right now, and it spreads faster than it ever has.